Hey there! Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jen Doling, and I'm here with Jake of all trades, or as I call him, my big brother Jake. And that's right. We are here filming today. Well, Jake of all trades, but we'd like to do this monthly at least, where we talk about what we're titling our unpopular opinions, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We are each going to share our unpopular opinions, and that is an understatement. I want keep it clear. Our opinions is very important. But before we do that, I would like to do our Mustang, our featured Mustang of this episode. Is this one right here? This one, Jake, is in honor of our dad. Actually, he had a '71 Mach 1 fastback Mustang, and of course, my Mustangs all have to be yellow. I want to get one for every year, but our dad's was it was not yellow. What ugly color was it?
New lime. Mm-hmm.
There was nothing lime about that thing.
I don't know why it was called that. He said it was called that. That's all I know.
It needed a complete restoration.
It reminded me of the Mustang. Well, it was a Boss in Gone in 60 Seconds, if you remember that movie.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a Boss, but it had that color. Well, that was more like maybe an olive drab, but still, it was kind of in that theme because it had the black stripes and it made it look really cool.
I had lots of fond memories of that. I'll show it to you. So that really kind of started my love for Mustangs, and so now each video I do, I want to feature different Mustangs. Of course, my Mustangs all have to be yellow. But this year, this 71, is the longest hood they had back then for Mustangs.
I thought that was one of the longest Mustangs ever made.
I don't know about longest ever made because I know that 2015 is now the longest, like the biggest.
Oh, okay.
They have the biggest interior too, like cabin space.
Oh, well.
2015s are amazing. There's actually an entire movie.
I enjoyed driving it.
Right. No, there is a whole movie on how they redesigned the 2015 Mustang. Did you ever see? Did you ever hear about that?
No, but I knew that. I mean, that was what anniversary was that? Their
50th, man. I got the 15.
I mean, they went all out. And it was a really good model. So.
So yeah, we are just filming this actually for the second time because guess who lost a clip? So. So Jake's being a good sport, and we're filming this again. But we will do our best to get into our unpopular opinions. Did I ever tell you that in Dad's Mustang I used to find the Christmas gifts in there?
Oh no!
Yeah, Mom and Dad hid them in there.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was pretty clever. They would keep a blanket over it to keep it. Dad had it all.
Yeah, well, and then you couldn't really touch any of Dad's stuff because.
Oh, he had his
And, well, he was very particular anyway, so he would
organized.
know if anything was messed with or anything like that. So yeah, just out of habit, you just didn't mess with it.
And then Mom was such a lousy gift wrapper that I would actually unwrap my own Christmas present and then wrap it back up, but she would never know.
I don't know. I mean, she used to do that. She told me she did that when she was a kid. So I wonder if maybe she told you and you.
Well, she's definitely a horrible gift wrapper. So, but I stopped doing it after 1 year. I unwrapped it, and I was like, I still didn't know what it was.
That's bad. Yeah.
It ended up being one of them. So this is definitely '90s, but it was a you put it in the corner and you put your stuffed animals in it, like a pet holder, pet net.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, pet net.
I think I remember.
I don't know if they still make those, but so I stopped doing it after that. But you definitely have a gift for gifts. Like you're oh my gosh, you can't stump this guy. You can't.
I mean, it's kind of an art form. You like this Christmas. At my in-laws, I was undoing a stocking, and they wrapped everything. So I had this big thing of it felt like candy, and then from there you're like, oh, it feels like peanut butter cups, And so I just like that and peanut butter cups, and then the next one's looks like a candy bar. I mean, it's still wrapped and everything. So you look at it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a whatchamacallit, and my mother-in-law's like, stop that, like.
Like you can feel the candy in it. Is that what you're doing?
Well, I mean, it's like it's easier when it's like an original.
I could pick out a Reese cup
there's
blindly.
Tricks to it. Yeah. There's little tricks to it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like if it's a pair of shoes or something, you can tell if it's in that certain
like
size.
The one year you did get, literally, you're like, slippers, brown, and they were brown slippers, or were they blue slippers? I don't know. Did you get the color right?
I got they were brown, but I mean that's that was just a guesstimate because I mean slippers are usually either brown, gray, or black. So I mean you had a good shot, but But yeah, the slippers was pretty easy to figure out otherwise, because you can feel the lid like on a shoebox, and you can kind of tell by jostling around. So yeah, it's an unfair advantage if I'm able to touch it or anything.
Right. Speaking of slippers, though, check these out, man. For real though. Yeah, I'm loving those. All right, so hey, our unpopular opinions. Jake wanted me to go first because I had a much lighter one than you do. We're both pretty deep, but you're more philosophical than I am.
Yeah, I mean, want to start with something lighthearted, but most of my stuff is more like big picture kind of stuff.
Right. That's okay. We'll get into that. So, my first unpopular opinion is I cannot stand it when people use their kids in like commercials. Mm-hmm. I will not buy your product unless it has something to do with kids. Then yeah, you run a daycare. I want to see kids in a daycare. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about, we have a female attorney. We live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and a female attorney. And by the way, I'm not dissing on her as a person or her skills as an attorney. I personally know someone that used her and loved her. Nothing against her as a person, but her marketing sucks. She uses her kids just like for no reason. I don't want to see.
You're talking about the bankruptcy attorney?
Yes, she is a bankruptcy attorney in Fort Wayne.
Yeah,
and she's been there a long time. I don't even want to say her name because I'm not dissing on her. Mm. I know she's a good person, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, I don't want to see kids in a bankruptcy commercial. I don't care that you're a mother. Oh, there's many lawyers that are men that are fathers and they're not pathetically losing
their... Yeah, I'm sure she probably sees it as like a strength. She's showing that she...
I know that's her goal. Mm-hmm. But I feel like marketing was like a lost calling for me. I mean, I went to art college and I love marketing. The fact that she is a woman and she, I don't know her personal story, but wow, that's amazing. I would have loved to go into a female bankruptcy attorney. When I filed bankruptcy, by the way, in 2010, if you remember that, I chose like the most oldest, boring white guy. Nothing. It had nothing to do with his. I'm just saying, like, dude, I want the guy that can do the job. Mm-hmm. And he was focused on that. He didn't care about telling me about his kids. No offense. I'm just saying, like, she turned the focus on way different things.
Yeah, and I see the intent there. She wanted just to show off she was a family, a mom, and all that. But
great.
But it's the idea of you're using the kids.
That too, and those kids got to grow up.
Manipulate the audience.
From the kids' perspective, now they got to grow up, and your mom's she's out. Yeah. So there's that too. That we're just getting into that. We're touching the surface on using children on the internet stuff. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day. Maybe another unpopular opinion.
Models and that kind of kid models.
No, I don't care to see people's kids. Another example is a lot of car commercials do that. Just what is it with car commercials and using kids? I don't.
Well, yeah, you mean like the sons of the owner,
not the ones that work there, like actually young kids. We got one out right now.
Well, again,
young.
Again, they think it's selling the idea that it's a family-owned thing and that they are loving family members. I mean, and it makes it look like they're good people and all that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it seems manipulative to me.
I want to buy a car. I don't care.
Amateurish. That's another.
Right. There's so many other way better ways to market your product. Especially has nothing to do with kids. I mean, unless you're selling like a van, or whatever for kids, great. But,
I mean, there's worse ways to market, but I still, this
one's just pathetic. You're not gonna get the worst one I've seen though is it was a upholstery company or something. They used a young girl.
That's the carpeting. I assume.
Well, there's two. There's two different companies. One is a carpeting company.
If you're thinking the same one I am.
I think it's two companies.
Okay.
One was a purely just carpet. Maybe it was the same company, but regardless, upholstery and carpet, kind of similar anyway, so I think it was. Anyways, like they have an 8-year-old flipping through carpet samples or upholstery samples. That to me, it blew my mind. I do not want an 8-year-old's opinion on carpet samples.
They see it as cutesy, I'm sure.
I did not see it that way at all. And then the worst, though, and I believe it was the same company, it was during football season, and they had to be like a 6-year-old little girl in like a short skirt and like one of them like cheerleader type skirts because again football.
No, that's what I'm talking about because that was the one that really sticks out because it just
a young girl with her legs crossed like this, and where do you think they put the football?
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, but
not appropriate.
That was the most cringiest thing I've ever seen, and
I'm sure they actually completely missed that. Like because it was like a local commercial, so it's a little more amateurish, and so they didn't get somebody to like that would see that and be like, oh no, you shouldn't do that because it's not appropriate or whatever, or at least it could be a bad.
I'm still bothered by that, and it's been well over 10 years ago.
But I'm sure they probably never even realized that, or they didn't. I certainly didn't get the feedback, or at least
I hope they did, but
you would think so. But.
I think they are.
I think it's because we have a more critical eye too. By the way,
I'll admit that all day long. Even since I've been doing these videos, I have a critical eye for. Oh, they edited this wrong. Oh my gosh, I'm too critical. I'll be honest. I can't even enjoy movies like I used to.
Well, I was just saying, to a coworker there, I'm trying not to be so judgmental. I find myself like, because after a while you get a good understanding of a lot of different things. So then, like, you are like, oh, that's not a good representation of that, or whatever it may be. You get a more critical eye. So then you can.
Or I just get older and crankier. I don't know.
Could be a little both, I suppose.
All right, it is now your turn. What is your unpopular opinion, Jake?
I think we'll start with, I guess, an easy one. I think it's probably more popular than you would think, but it's basically that the U.S. military, I think you could cut their budget in half, and then you can cut in half again, and then you could argue about cutting it more because it's that bloated. Roughly over 50% of all U.S. taxes go to the military-industrial complex. Over 50%.
Over 50%.
So every dollar that you give to the IRS at tax time, just any federal tax goes towards the military-industrial complex. I think it's around 51, 52%, something like that.
I just feel like it's just being misutilized.
Well,
that to me is, it's not so much how much money they get from me, it's how they utilize it.
Oh yeah, that's a big part of it.
And I just think it's not utilized at all.
Like the Pentagon was audited for the first time ever like a few years ago, and like it was found, or I'm sorry, not found, but lost. They had lost track of billions of dollars. In their budget. But it's just it goes towards the big companies that make all of our defense contractors, basically, and it's not all bad. They employ thousands of people and they make a lot of good products and all that, but still, it's it's top heavy. It goes more towards the top.
Well, I just feel like the whole military in general is completely trying to. First of all, I don't think they should be allowed to market to high schoolers like they do. They make it out to be like it's this. You're gonna be amazing. You're gonna be a superhero and just this soldier. And
that's their target audience.
And really, what you really are is you're gonna be a trained killer. I'm not against the military. Neither one. Our father served in the military. Our grandfather. I'm not against the military.
No, I actually consider myself, a patriot. I don't feel the need to, sing it from the rooftops, or nothing wrong with displaying your flag or anything like that.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm pro soldier, pro veteran. I want all that tax money to go towards all the equipment they need and all the resources they need, and then it's including once they're out and they're veterans and any sort of health issues taken care of, that kind of thing. But we don't, and there's no excuse for that.
Well, I think that I want more for the soldiers. In other words, I want them to have more skills that they develop while they're there. And we're for example, part of protecting us is protecting us right here. Mm-hmm. For example, our infrastructure, which I just heard of a bridge in Pittsburgh that fell, literally, this just happened. It's just misutilized. I think when you come out of the military, you should have so many.
And then again, the money, so much money goes in there, and then they don't even support veterans once they get out. The veterans should be taken care of without question, and we're failing there, in my opinion. There's many other aspects as well. But yeah, we could be much more streamlined and efficient, and you have special forces for everything. And there's the days of the huge military fronts and tanks rolling in and stuff. I hope I can say they're over. I guess nothing's ever definite, but it's more a war of economics and technology and special forces.
It really is
nowadays. So it's
That is, war changes over time too, with technology and whatnot. All right, is it my turn to go or your turn to go with unpopular?
Oh, that was mine. And
that was yours? I added 2 yours, but...
no, that's great, yeah.
All right, so my next one is also a bigger topic too that leads to ultimate discussion. But I'm going to start it off more simply. I absolutely despise random drug tests at jobs.
Okay.
I don't mind if you do a drug test when you hire on. That doesn't bother me. But the random drug tests, it's absolutely, even if let's just say it's completely random, I'll go with that. I work for a company that, I don't know how many people, hundreds of people, it was a hospital, so I got called many times in a 4-year time span, and every time they got to escort you down, you do drug tests and all that. I never had any complaints, I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, it's picking on me, it's just stupid. I'm a great employee. My department, which I run by myself, by the way, even got like a Department of the Month 1 month. So I'm just saying, like, you're just picking on me. Like, why would you do that to good employees? What is their benefit? What do they gain out of it?
It's a tool for manipulation. First of all, the one thing you have going for you is that it's enough of an expense that most companies won't do it unnecessarily. So they may say random a lot of times.
I get it if there's like a major complaint or
it's
totally all for that.
It's usually, I think that's the main purpose, is it's reserved for that right to be able to drug test an employee if they have any sort of suspicion of something. I agree, though. I actually, I feel like I don't know. I can't speak for I can't speak for a lot of people, but to me, the U.S. Like market for jobs, they treat you less like an adult and more like a person, or more like a child, or
possession. You're nothing.
It's not just drug tests. It's if you clock in a minute late, then you're written up, or like I don't know. I just don't like the. I don't like the what do you call it, the
control. That's just so nitpicky.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of it though. It's just control in general. It's letting people know who's in charge and what their expectations. And even that I can understand a lot of it, because I mean it's business is business and you have to be professional. But they get carried away with that. Thankfully, there are a lot of laws that keep them from abusing certain things.
And then during COVID, that whole year of 2020, the hospital's like, and by the way, I have no problem with my hospital. This is not a personal attack on my employer, which is no longer my employer. I had major back surgery, so I'm not working at the moment, disabled. But anyways, not picking on them. I'm talking about a whole, companies as a whole, especially hospitals, because they are, obviously you're working with lives and things. But, I forgot my train of thought. So during 2020, suddenly, the whole year of 2020, no random drug tests. They stopped it for an entire year. Like, we don't give a shit about your life right now while you're trying to fight COVID. But they started it back up.
Like they were having problems retaining people, I imagine.
But that's just, it's BS. It's just BS. And then I got a funny story. I don't know if I ever told you this either. No. In 2016, this is no secret that 2016 was my midlife crisis, without a doubt. Okay, I had like 8 jobs in 2016, all crappy jobs too. Selling Fords was fun, but I knew that wasn't my life calling. But I was having a midlife crisis and needed to get out of the medical field for a slew of reasons. But I just don't think I told you this, Jake. So one of my super crappy jobs, and I will not say what job it was, one of my super crappy jobs called for a drug test prior to getting employed. Okay. Well, it's 2016. I don't give a crap about this job. I just don't care. I just needed a job to pay just my bills for just even that month. I didn't even care. So they they did a random drug test on me, and this is going to prove my point of how stupid just drug tests are in general. Okay, let me tell you. You ever heard the phrase, when the pay is low, you go to work high?
Yeah.
Remember, lowest point of my life, 2016, so I ain't gonna lie, I partook in some smoking, okay? That's it. It just kept me sane from having a nervous breakdown. Yeah. All right? I was able to get it for cheap because I couldn't afford any mental health care at that time. Nothing. I was broke, having a midlife crisis, a genuine midlife crisis. And you helped me out too, by the way. You were a big support, and you really were. I'll even brag on him for a second. I'm gonna tell my story, but I gotta brag on you real quick. One of my jobs, man, I was hurting. I needed Band-Aids for my feet, you name it. I was just broke. I had no hope. I needed to pack lunches for this job, and he literally said, what do you need? And I said, I need money. I gotta buy lunches. I gotta this, that, and that, and Band-Aids for my feet because the boots were hurt. I mean, seriously. And he said, well, I got $80 in my checking account, and here's my. You literally gave me your ATM card, and said, I don't care if you buy $80 worth of Band-Aids. That's it. $80 your limit, and then give me my card back and you're done. And that was really nice. That really meant a lot. Yeah. So yeah, those are moments like that you can help people and do what you can. So that was really impressive. But so my story. So I had to do this drug test, and come on, guys, it's so easy to fake drug test, you guys. Do I even have to explain how this is done? For jobs, it's like so stinking easy, it's just ridiculous. But for like government, like I've been on house arrest and all that, and like government, those are harder to.
They get a little more intrusive, I imagine.
No, they actually watch you pee.
That's what I mean.
They watch your genitalia, like really, this happens. Yeah. But for men, it's actually really simple. They actually have fake. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They like the guy's not gonna pull your thing out and hold it.
They have prosthetics. Yeah.
Yeah, they have fake. I don't know if they do for women. I haven't looked into it, you guys. Mm-hmm. Comment below if you know there's a fake woman one, but haven't had to use that. Like I said, this was 2016, you guys. All right, so I definitely had fake pee for this stupid drug test for this stupid job that I really didn't even want, but I had to do what I had to do. So yeah, I faked it, and I'm all nervous, and the nurse comes out and says, "Can you come in here?" And I'm like, oh man, she knows. I'm like, oh man, this is just this year cannot get any worse for me. Mm. She's like, you have a bladder infection. I can't make this up.
They check for that, yeah.
I can't make this up. I'm like, I do.
That must be from the heroin.
Oh man, I'm gonna stop and give me some cranberry juice on the way home or something. Like, I wasn't acting. I was genuinely shocked.
Now, I assume is it other humans pee then, or
there's
because there's
the market is full. Yeah. So this is why I think that drug tests are stupid.
Maybe it was a goat that had a bladder infection or something. I don't know.
No, it was not.
I don't know how they.
In this particular case, this was not another human.
Okay.
But it's very common to do that. Like I'm serious. Like it is so easy to fake a drug test.
Well, since you brought up the drug testing thing, actually what it brought to my mind was unemployment and welfare. Ugh. You know, there's always been arguments throughout the years to drug test unemployed, and the argument, of course, is well, we're giving them free money, which isn't free, by the way. It's tax money from everybody. Yeah. And I would rather go towards something like that than like I don't know bombs again. But anyway, so the argument is that if these people are freeloading, then we need to drug test them. Well, every drug test costs money.
Why are you picking on? Why do you care?
They've done this in different places, and what ends up happening is like a small percentage of people end up getting caught for usually marijuana or some recreational drug. But it isn't the money they save by kicking those people off unemployment. Isn't even compared to how much money they spent doing all the drug testing.
And by the way, I should add that we live in Indiana. And it's still weed is still not legal in Indiana, even though all the surrounding states are.
But just like we said with drug testing employees, I don't think it's a like really, the intended purpose isn't to like make sure there's not moochers on the system. It's really a power thing, a power dynamic.
Do you really think that's what it is? I want to get to the heart.
Again, nothing's usually that easy in black and white, but they're usually because the reason why most. What's the best way? Like I'll just use Republicans for instance. They're so good at it. Everything they do has been through think tanks and the Heritage Foundation. Well, it's also libertarian leaning stuff too. But there's lots of different libertarian types. But anyway, it's usually through a think tank of sorts, and it's been funked about by so many people that they have a policy on everything, and it's usually like this Orwellian, like opposite thing that most people would care about, but they frame it so that it confuses people. That's the whole point of it.
So going back to that hospital doing random drug tests on me, what do they have to gain by, in my opinion, picking on a good employee? I had a fantastic track record Fantastic. Very proud of my career as a sleep technologist. I really am. And I take my job very, very serious. But what do they have to gain by just coming and randomly, taking me down to the lab? Okay, so let's say I fail it.
Well, first of all,
what happens? What do they have to gain?
First of all, their reputation is costly. So they are maintaining the reputation, and then there's certain laws probably that they have to abide by.
I understand that.
So I mean, it's not just a question.
But I am a law-abiding citizen too. I don't have any. Well, I've been to jail, but I've told you that story, you guys. It has nothing to do with my job. But watch Ryan Staples' video. I tell my whole arrest story. But I understand the standards. But isn't a standard that I'm already a law-abiding citizen, my medical license is up to par, good shape, everything's good. They check all that stuff as they should. But who cares?
Well, they fear that by leaving it at their discretion that now you can discriminate because if it's not really truly random, then the fear is they could be sued for drug testing a minority or someone of a minority faith or something. Who knows? I mean, they open themselves up.
They spend more money because they pay for the drug test.
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine overall they probably don't like doing it. Or I mean, it's. Again,
I don't know if they do or not. That's a good point.
But
too.
I mean, it's probably certain people do agree with it, and certain people they're. I mean, I know I don't agree with a lot of laws and stuff, but I mean, I'm not the one writing them, and I'm not. I mean, I'm voting for who I think will help represent my views, but unfortunately, that's very few people. So.
Yeah. Going along with the drug testing topic, this gets a little bit deeper, but I feel like I do not agree with the way we treat drug addicts in this country. And I'm talking much more serious drugs than weed, which weed is minor.
Well, there's probably...
But I'm talking about serious drug addicts that it is a major life-altering situation for them.
That would be an unpopular...
That is a medical problem.
That's an unpopular opinion of mine, is that...
it should be legal.
Legal... No, decriminalized.
I'll go with that. Let's go with that.
Like, you don't want heroin or crystal meth to be legal. You want it to be decriminalized.
Right.
So that... if someone gets caught because they're addicted to meth or whatever, they're not put in jail for being a criminal. They're put
then they get felonies, all that, then they can't get a job. So they can't better themselves.
Detox, and they get counseling so that
they need help.
Yeah, that's an addiction, and a lot of times psychological issues more than they're just stealing to support a habit, and that may be a side effect of it.
It's definitely, yeah.
But and don't get me wrong. I mean, yes, if somebody is robbing gas stations to get their heroin fix or whatever it may be, then yes, they're committing crimes, and it's understandable.
In itself is a crime. Yeah. Robbing, all that stuff, they can be charged.
But there's a lot of
the drug part of it should be treated as a health issue.
Yeah, again, nothing's ever usually very simple, but this one, a lot of it is like the privatization of prisons, the war on drugs. I mean, it's a racket in itself to get butts into cots into prisons, and it's easy to keep marijuana illegal so that you can still pull people over and get money through that way, and then put them in the system and get money that way, and so yeah, that's all one big racket in my opinion.
And then. So we live in this capitalist world. Well, think about it. If weed is completely legal nationwide, like, business is good. Like if I owned a Taco Bell, like I'd be all for legalizing.
Well, I mean, I've lost track how many states have legalized it now.
Oh, a lot of them.
But it's at least like 12 or 14
not even an
or
issue
something
anymore.
But
who cares?
Right, but the states that have it's a windfall of tax revenue. So I mean, it makes obvious sense that way, and that's the one good thing about. The almighty dollar dictates a lot of that. So a lot of states are finally saying like, hey, we're missing out on a lot of money here. So maybe we should consider that. It's just, it's getting over that mindset. And then of course, which politicians you have in there that are making those laws per state, that's what you're trying to get passed. Indiana is notorious for being behind even a lot of times Kentucky or Tennessee or a lot of the other, I don't know if you want to call them flyover states. I know it's kind of an insulting term, but nobody's like, oh, I can't wait to go to Indiana. It's usually it's Chicago or Detroit or some place.
That's not true. We got the Indianapolis 500. That actually brings.
Oh, that's about the best thing we have.
They come from all over the globe for that. Mm-hmm. That is true. Yeah. It is now your turn for your next unpopular opinion.
Let's see. I have a little list here. Well, okay. Again, mine are more philosophical concepts, but
that's all right.
Let's do this one. I don't know how much because I assume we still have well, we have all the time in the world, but I mean, you know, I don't want you to keep you guys here all day and night. So let's do, you don't need meaning to live your life. This is one that comes up almost regularly for me with a lot of friends and family, where they are always, okay, well, let me preempt that. I guess I'm not religious. I really, if you're going to pigeonhole me, I'm probably, I would consider myself an atheist, which is, and even then, a strong atheist. I mean, I don't say that with 100% certainty that there is no God.
Born a skeptic.
Yeah, I'm what you would call, I think, a natural born skeptic.
Like, didn't
I mean,
you like
really
pray at like 8 years old and it didn't come true, and you're like, oh, well, that's enough for religion.
Yeah, I mean, that was my honest attempt at prayer. And
or didn't you say you prayed once to stop smoking? Was that you? Or
no, I prayed to stop basically human suffering. I know that was a tall ask, but
wow.
Right, but I figured if it was done by
make it good.
well, that's how I mean, it's naive.
You've just always been a natural born skeptic. Mm-hmm. Me, I never asked a single question growing up. So I went to church and became very, very, very religious in my teenage years. You know, those extremely formative years where you pretty much believe anything. Well, you didn't, but I did. Yeah, go on with your. I like your point here.
Okay, that you don't need meaning to live life. Okay.
I wish I had known that at that time.
Yeah, it's understandable. I mean, everybody. You know, we're all curious. We all want to know where we came from, where we're going, what it's all about, and just the big questions. And that's obviously one of them. I've never really struggled with that one much, though. And maybe it's just because I'm too, I don't know, simplistic in this belief or what. But to me, it's satisfying. I don't think you even need to have meaning to be living. I mean, you're here regardless. You were born. All the string of circumstances that happened before you were born and didn't exist happened in a certain order, and that was the cause for you to be born. Whoever you are, wherever you were born, you've already hit the lottery. You exist. You are the top of the food chain on a planet for the most part. And from there, it gets more and more fortunate.
I do agree. The fact that you even exist is amazing.
Yes, I mean, I'm
that exact sperm hooked up with that exact egg to make you.
Well, and don't read too much into that, because I mean, okay, like a man has millions of sperm, and a woman who knows which egg's going to come out at what time, and it's not completely random, because some sperm aren't as good swimmers as the others. I mean, and then the woman's body is trying her immune system's trying to attack the sperm, so even if you get a good one, it gets devoured by.
Now you're getting sex education here today, folks.
Well, I'm just saying. Again, I can go off on so many tangents, but the main point is, like, it is random how it gets to you. You could have been millions of different versions of yourself. You could have been male or female or some cross in between. I mean, that again is a whole other topic. Just sex and sexuality in general, and gender and things like that. But
for me personally, as religious as I was for a good decade of my life, I'm now 42, religion did bring me comfort at that time, but it certainly made me think I had a greater purpose and all that, and that's great, and it brought me some comfort. But I'll be honest, after I gave up religion through a journey, this wasn't just like a one-night thing, I wake up, oh, you know what, screw religion. Not like that at all, I promise. It was definitely a journey where I actually started asking questions. But now that I no longer believe, I actually find more comfort in my current life right now, because I know this is all I get. I look at my dog. You can't see him on camera, but he doesn't wake up every day and wonder what the purpose is. He just lives his life, man. He doesn't question nothing. He's just here to exist and be stinking cute.
Well, for me, the whole point is you are here. You at some point in your life, you realize, hey, I exist, and okay, what do I make of it? And to me, that's just it. It's I mean, you don't need to question why you're here. It's really, what do you do with it?
Just be here.
Or do you even need to do anything with it? I mean, just appreciating life in general and the awe of existence is a lot. So,
and then, like, the way I think about death, because I know that's a big topic. People want to be comforted. Well, we just went to a funeral of our uncle passed away. And the way I comfort myself with death nowadays is, I don't remember before I was born. I don't think I'm going to remember after I'm dead. It is what it is, you guys. That's why I want to make this one life the best I can, because And I was in the hospital for a week, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, whatever. And death was an option. I mean, it really was. And yeah, man. If that's why after I got out of the hospital, I started kind of slowly trying to make this YouTube channel.
You realize you do have a limited time, yeah, and that what you have to decide what's important at that point.
What's important to you?
I'll tell you, I'm actually not afraid of death. I'm afraid of dying.
Right.
The act of it. Something's eventually something goes wrong, whether it's with your body or an accident, whatever it may be. But or in the case of the movie Don't Look Up, I don't know if you've seen that one yet. A comet coming right your way, and
I know.
But the point is, I mean, yeah, you try to make the best of what you've got, and whoever you are, whatever it is you enjoy, that should be your first clue as what direction you should head, in my opinion. But to each their own. I mean, and that's not to take away the religious aspect of it. Even if there is a heaven after this and everything, you still want to live, or you should want to take advantage of the time you have here. I mean,
right.
Yeah, I don't see too many Christians or Muslims or anyone that's religious that's in a huge hurry to get there. It's usually people do. There's value to life. In fact, I would say life to me is more precious because it is limited. It's a limited edition. It's a one and done, in my opinion, and that has value to it. I mean, if the choice is to either exist or not exist, I choose existence. That's why, to me, it's irrational to commit suicide. Easier said than done if I'm in a horrific life. I mean, because so many. I always keep in mind how many people have it much worse than I do.
I'm facing disability here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're starving or if you're suffering heavily from 4th stage cancer or things like that. I mean, yes, obviously, it's a lot about quality of life. So you definitely need to try to appreciate what you do have when you have it, and it's fleeting. It all ends eventually. So take advantage of the time that you do have. And
I like that, though, Jake. I like that. You don't have to have meaning. Just live it and love it. And
I just think it's an overrated question.
I like that. My turn. And it is kind of feeding off the religion thing, but this is more of, how should I say it? I feel like churches in general, every church, I don't care what denomination you are. I feel like every church is completely misutilized. So, like, I feel like, okay, when I think of them, I think of it may be different in more populated cities than where we live, but where we live, it's just this great, big, beautiful building, usually, with just this massive property of just grass. The property that churches have is just ginormous. I know because I used to mow the church lawn, and it was crazy. It was all this in my opinion, just wasted land that's not doing anything. I think churches should help the community, and I know they would deny it that they say they are. Let me give you examples. I want to combine. I got my notes here. Hold on. I want to combine, like, say, a YMCA for like health, physical workout. We could make a YMCA in a church, a gym workout.
Well, they do that. I mean, mega churches.
Okay, well, let's use mega churches for example. Mm-hmm. Schools, we can have a lot of education stuff going on in there. Computer labs, turn it into a library almost. Mm-hmm. I gotta backtrack though. The main thing you gotta change if you're gonna do this, churches gotta pay taxes, because I got a big problem with that. Call that another.
Well, that's an unpopular opinion, I suppose. Although I have to wonder how unpopular that is nowadays, because I agree. The problem is most churches are not. I hate to paint everybody with a broad brush, but a lot of churches, or at least a lot of the people in charge of those churches, definitely, with a nod and a wink, a lot of times they're like, "Yeah, vote for so and so in one way or another."
Because that allows them not to pay taxes, right. Which means money and power. Joel Osteen just got caught with, I think it was like over $600,000
in his walls.
Yeah, a plumber found that.
Walls. Yeah.
That is a perfect example. I knew they'd find something on that dude. I knew it. He just look at it. Every single mega pastor. There's always something, because you give a human being. Again, I don't care what religion you believe in. You give a single human being that much money and power, and it's going to go.
I assume in one form or another they're sociopaths. I think they have a lot in common with CEOs.
I could not live with myself if I was.
I'm not calling every CEO a sociopath either, by the way. But I mean, that a lot of people that go after that kind of money and power, it's it's a trip in itself. I mean, that's what they're going for. Your Joel Osteen, yeah, he's a charlatan. He's milking people out of millions of dollars.
I call him the warm fuzzy Christianity.
Well, he's the
and he's against gays, by the way. He's totally against gays, in case you ever wondered.
Well, it's also a bastardization of all of Jesus' teachings. I mean, it's the prosperity gospel. So it's literally the more money I give you, the more God will give you later. No, God doesn't give shit about money.
Jesus was poor, and he helped the poor and sick, which is what I want to do.
He was tossing tables of the money changers. I mean,
but now hold on. So churches should pay taxes. That's first and foremost. And then, but with that said, the government will then help the churches too. Okay? I got a list of things we could turn churches into here. Gyms, gardens. Oh my gosh, all that property could be turned into a garden. I live here I'm in a suburb of Fort Wayne, Indiana, so I am in a small town. Like 3,500 people live here. Okay, small town, small community, and we got several churches with all this property. That could be a garden could feed this entire town. You could, those rental gardens. You ever seen those, where you go rent a garden space? I don't know if this is. I don't think this is definitely not an Indiana thing. I think this is something we copied off somewhere. Anyway, you can actually rent your own garden space, and you walk up, and you do your own garden. Anyways, or we could have actual produce stands at the churches and things like that, and you can make money off of it. I'm all about. It's okay to sell stuff, but listen, still on Sundays. You can have your church, your sanctuary is holy, you can do your religion, but let me backtrack real quick. This is why I feel this way. This is why I feel so strongly about this. When I look back at all my church days, 10 years, and I was everything from a teacher in the church to a kid to you name it, I've done a lot in the church, coaching, things like that. My own personal self, when I look back, the thing that meant the most to me in my church days was softball. Sports. They allowed me to play. I was a young teenage girl, but they allowed me to play on a mostly men's league, grown adult men too. And I was even a pitcher. That was kind of scary. I couldn't do that again. But at the time, I was good. I was good, so I made the team. And we played other churches and all that. And it was the most amazing time ever. I felt the most loved. I felt the most appreciated. People cheered me on, and it wasn't. It wasn't so watered down with wooey religion. This was just real. They want me to succeed on the softball field. I'm cheering them on. We had camaraderie. That's why I love sports so much. Well, those are my fondest memories of church, is just church softball, of all things. So I know that we can do that again. We can do sports in the church. I don't know if you ever heard of pickleball? Mm-hmm. It's like a big thing right now. I would go watch people play pickleball tournaments. If they got the whole city, I'd watch theater. If they advertise for the whole city, don't just do it within your little church. No, the whole town, man. Anybody can come and be in a play. If you've been in plays before, you love that stuff. You'd probably do something like that if it was like I would pay to see I would pay for this, you guys. I would pay to go see like a group of 30-year-old men or women too, I don't care, play basketball against each other. It doesn't even have to be super competitive. It's just to be fun and get up. But I'm talking about getting the community. It's a community. Stop being this, close the door, open one stupid day a week, and in your little bubble, and it's all about your control and your money. And I'm done with that. I want to help people. And but you can still have your religion too. It's perfectly okay to do that. But listen, I'll never forget being in meetings at churches. And they're like, well, how do we get people through the doors? How do we get people here? How do we, save souls? And I'm like, well, you got to offer reasons for people to come here. And one year we did a pumpkin patch during Halloween. That was actually wonderful. We got to the church, all put the pumpkins out in that massive unused grass that we had. And then we sold the pumpkins, and people from the neighborhood came and bought pumpkins, and we talked, and we made money, and it was just fantastic. I want more of that in the community. Mm-hmm. And then again, it made us money too. So that's what I want. It was a perfect success. Let's see, I got other things. Cooking could be there. Of course, daycares, which I'm all for daycares, by the way. Could be a shelter for homeless, things like that. Arts and crafts shows. To do arts and crafts and things like that. Spa, massages, manis, pedis.
I can see people getting in trouble for that one. But,
no, but you hire actual people.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually have a massage degree.
Yeah, I don't need a youth pastor giving me a massage or anything. No, okay.
I need a drink on that one.
No, I think you're kind of hit up on a point that I would like to make real quick, which is, okay, first of all, fun fact, the Fort Wayne, was and probably still is known as the city of churches. There's over 500 churches in Fort Wayne.
That many?
Yeah.
So
you can find pretty much anything you're looking for. But my point is, the bigger picture is that why are all those churches here? Well, obviously, it's the members of the communities mean well for the most part, and they want to have places where they can meet and share their love for their communities and for each other and to support one another. So I mean, I understand the good in churches and in religion in general, and how most people are well-meaning. It's just that a lot of times it gets carried away, in my opinion, because once religion's in there, that kind of becomes the center of focus, and in many cases, understandably so. However, it usually goes awry, in my opinion. That's why you have over 30,000 different sects of Christianity, because they can't agree on all the little
all right,
nuances.
that brings me my two.
You know?
I have two more points about churches.
Okay.
You just led me into my one point is that everything you and I just said is never going to happen.
No.
It's never going to happen. And here's why. Because the ultimate goal of churches, in my opinion, like it or not, it's not to save souls. They're just there.
They're businesses.
It's a business
Yeah.
that doesn't pay taxes. That's why they're never going to share their building or their property with the community like they should be. Because the ultimate goal is money and power. And they keep voting to keep their money and power. And it's just a vicious cycle. And they only get bigger and more mega churches where they just have the control. And it's ridiculous. So, yeah, churches should pay taxes. One more story about churches.
Okay.
Still not sure if I ever told you this one either.
All right.
I found a really good use for the Catholic Church here in my town.
Okay, what is that?
Need a drink for this one too. Okay, so like I live in a suburb of Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is a bigger city. So I'm in a small city. So it's a little bit of a rural drive, if you will, a little country road to get to my town. I have a very small bladder. Jake's aware of this. Everybody knows me, knows I have a small bladder. I just do. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. It just is, okay? By the way, the females in our family, for real, I've talked to them. It's just, anyways. So I would go hang out in Fort Wayne, and I always knew that my bladder could not make it on that drive home. No matter where I was at, no matter what I was doing, no matter what time of the day, although it was usually night. I worked third shift, or I did at that time. So I'm usually driving at night back then. So, the Catholic Church, right there by the highway interchange, where there's just not much around, the cornfields, they built a little kids' play thing with really nice absorbent mulch, if you will. I just stopped there and peed in their mulch all the time.
Okay.
That was like my regular routine now. It was the most absorbent mulch. It worked great.
Wow.
I found my own use for a church. Really good fish fries at that church, too. I ain't gonna lie. I ate their fish fries. I do love me some fish fry. Yeah, just funny story. It's like, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. I think it's your turn for or is it mine or yours? I can't remember.
That's mine. Well, I mean, I guess we can stick with the religions team, and this one's gonna probably upset quite a few people, but it's one of my beliefs, I guess. And on that note, and one of I think this also gets to the core of probably what you're talking about as far as like, why should churches exist in the first place instead of what you would call like secular community centers? Centers that offer the secular version of the YMCA and your garden centers and just your community centers, the hubs of where the social life would be in most cities. Every church represents an organized religion. Obviously, there's a difference between an organized religion and your personal faith. Personal faith is what you believe, regardless of what church you attend. Obviously, you may not agree with all the tenets in your church,
right?
Or all the doctrine, and so that's why you're always like looking for the best church, of course, because of what's the best fit,
sure,
that kind of thing. Okay, well, my thing is that I studied religion just not in the university or anything, but I mean, on my own, and I did it for like a broad, religions of the world kind of deal. So I've read the Bible multiple times. I've read the Quran. I've read the I Ching. I've read about Buddhism, about Hinduism, about Jainism. I mean, you name it. So
I've actually studied religious courses in, in college. Mm-hmm. I went to a Catholic college, by the way.
Well, I've listened to
and a Wesleyan college. I've got my.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them, but
neither was I, by the way. But it's a different story.
There's worse ones. I mean, like there was like Moody Bible College. That's where like Bart D. Ehrman went. He was an apologist or still there. I mean, he's alive.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, but
we went to that. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But one of my favorite moments of hanging out with you, we went to Notre Dame University in South Bend, Indiana, where we did this twice, different debates, and. We met Christopher Hitchens. I believe that was 2010, and I think he died in 2011. So
he actually was diagnosed with throat cancer a couple weeks after we met him.
Okay, and I got to meet him and shake his hand and got a picture. I'll put that up.
Yeah, I got to drink with him.
Jake took the picture, and he's really, really mad that I got my picture with him because it's his guy. It's his guy.
No, I wasn't mad. Hitchens was kind of upset. He didn't like kind of playing favorites there or whatever that he actually. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanted a picture with the guy too, but I was happy just to shake his hand.
But you got to have a cigarette with him.
And drink with him. I had a couple.
Yeah,
of drinks,
man.
I sit there or stand there and talk with him outside of the Legends bar at Notre Dame.
You were like a giddy little school kid.
Oh yeah,
it was so cool to see you that way.
He's one of the few. I don't know. I hesitate to call him an idol because he would probably poo-poo that anyway.
Right.
But he's one of the people I looked up to, or at least I admired. I enjoy it. He's extremely well read and just a well-intentioned person. He could be very harsh and
he was definitely yeah.
But he had character and all that. But I mean that was definitely. I try to meet people, usually authors that
We met Sam Harris, and we met you met. He's also British.
Richard Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins.
I met 3 of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I have yet to meet Daniel
Got books all signed by him.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed going there. And that is Notre Dame is a Catholic university, and they had religious debates. So Christopher Hitchens, for example, is an atheist author. What was it William Lane Craig or?
William Lane Craig was debating Sam Harris.
Okay,
and
who did Hitchens debate that day?
That I don't remember.
Okay, who were you in line? Tell the story about what you regret not saying when you were in line. Go ahead, tell the story.
Well, that was with the Sam Harris and William Lane Craig debate. And if you're not familiar with William Lane Craig, I mean he's an excellent apologist. He's an excellent debater, and that's kind of the joke. I was actually second in line with the friend I went there with, and we were waiting to get autographs. And so Sam Harris and William Lane Craig are sitting in front of us. And my friend, just because it was kind of the awkward silence, he said, "Hey Sam, I'm a big fan of whatever," but then he didn't know what to say to William Lane Craig, so he's like, "You're a great debater," and I missed the opportunity to say, "Yes, you're a master debater," because what other time would you get to use that joke?
I know!
In the proper context.
In the proper context.
And kind of insult the guy at the same time. So yeah, I missed a golden opportunity. But it's always you think of it 2 hours later.
Right.
Or whatever,
you got to have a cigarette and a drink with with Christopher Hitchens. So
yeah, it was all.
Do you mind telling them what you asked Hitchens about his book?
Well, he had done it was part of a documentary called Collision, and it was a low budget thing, but it still he had one provocative thought towards the end, which he was asked if there was only one Christian left on the entire planet, would you want them to die? Not necessarily kill them or anything, but I mean, like, in other words, would you want Christianity to go extinct? And he said no. He felt that it should take its own course. I think ultimately was the idea I got out of it. And so I was able to ask him, like, do you stand by that still? Do you still believe? And he said, yes, I do. He was. That's one of the things that I admired about him, was that he was very consistent, I thought, and that's. I like to think I'm that way. Like you said, I'm a natural born skeptic. I've been fortunate that I was able to build upon what I think is a good foundation, and ever since. I mean, there's always, you learn misinformation, wrong things. I mean, even myself included. where like I'm just wrong about certain things or forget things or confuse things. So, I mean, that's always a danger. That's why you're always.
Sure.
I always kind of second guess myself, and I mean, this is about. I'm actually. I consider myself a humble person. Google asked me first is kind of about
It's a joke. Yeah.
big as I get. Like, yeah, like trying to brag that I know something. I mean, it's really just that. Like for that, I love the library, and I was a big fan of the Dewey Decimal System, and and the card catalog. I could just rip through that stuff, and I could find a book in record time. And to me, that's the internet when it was on paper.
Reading. I just didn't enjoy reading.
It's not the reading. That's the act of. I enjoy the information. I enjoy the facts.
Well, I learned that as an adult that I do enjoy learning. Reading's the wrong source.
You want the visual medium.
Visual media is my source of learning nowadays, and I was ashamed of that for a little while because I felt like, well, I mean, I went to college. I have degrees.
I've gotten,
but I hate reading. But now I get my knowledge media wise through visual. I'm just extremely visual.
For me, I've gotten good at digging through a lot. It's the needle in the haystack concept. I know how to separate the wheat from the chaff. I can quickly go through a lot of the garbage and find the gems because I know what I'm looking for most of the time. If I don't, I know the proper techniques and concepts in order to find.
That's hard to do nowadays with misinformation.
I mean, even Google can be used. There's different levels of Googling, and I by no means am an expert at Googling, but Google is biased. I mean, Google is a gigantic corporation now, and I think they started well intentioned, but I mean they are now becoming part of the problem, a big part of the problem, based on they're an information company. I mean they're trading data.
That's a lot of power. That's a lot.
But still, their search engine, one of their primary services, is still hard to beat. So I still use them because they're there, but there is a cost to it, which is your information, basically. I also use DuckDuckGo,
I never heard that.
Well, it's less intrusive. There's also will be future options like on the Web 3.0, where there's decentralized possibilities of like search engines and stuff, so you kind of get around that without trading your private information. But that's the future. That's not now. Assuming Google and other companies don't snuff it out first, or just take it over.
All right, so I'll go next.
Well, I never really got past my whole.
Are you not done with yours?
I hardly even got started. We got sidetracked immediately.
Sorry, man. Go.
Right. Well, okay.
Sorry about that, guys. I had to get more tea. I wasn't trying to cut you off, but
Well, I mean, it was like a cliffhanger. Like I'm about to say.
You stay tuned.
All right.
Now I got more tea. So, I'm sorry about that.
Fine.
Go ahead.
It's a big one too.
It's a big one, and I just cut you off. I'm so sorry.
Just come out with it. I think that all organized religions are wrong, and I know that's a big one, and that probably slaps some people in the face. And I'm not trying to be mean.
Doesn't mean you hate them.
No, but no, and that's a good point. I separate the religion from the religious. I don't hate people. Well, I don't care for most people, to be quite honest. But I don't hate people.
Yeah, I'm definitely more the people person, you guys.
I'm kind of antisocial and all that. Anyway, that's my own issues. But no, I say that. Okay, there are most people are good people, well intentioned, mean well,
I agree
and they go to church and think they're doing good and feel good about it, and for the most part they do. I mean, some of the money that's donated there and some of the time that they donate goes to good causes. So I'm not trying to take away from that. What I am saying.
I'm gonna stop you real quick though.
Okay, once again, stop me again. Go ahead.
No, this is gonna lead you in.
Okay.
The way I define what you're just trying to say there, again, my opinion, I think good people can also be incorrect.
Well, sure, yeah.
And that's why I still love people. And I don't hate religion. I just know that even good people can just be wrong or incorrect or misled.
Well, and you can still be...
and they can still have good intentions, too.
Well, you can still be religious and correct and do it for the right causes and reasons.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think of like our Aunt Edie and Joel, our Uncle Joel, and I think of our grandpa.
Shout out Edie and Joel.
Yeah, there you go.
They are. That's a great example. Seriously, she's volunteered for the soup kitchens and all that.
The point is they use it for what I believe its intended purpose is, which is doing the most good for the most people. But we get away from that quickly in modern times. But now it's probably going to make like Aunt Edie feel bad about this, but no, the problem is like they're more what I would call moderate or liberal, and Catholic no less, which is kind of a newer thing in itself, and it's great, but it still lends cover to your more like fundamentalist type, your more like extremist type, and I think most religious people that aren't those fundamentalists and extremists would agree, at least in one form or another, that's the worst side of their religions. And they're not
if everybody was like
mm-hmm.
Edie, I would have,
sure, it'd be a lot easier.
Be a much better world.
Right, but the problem is they all believe in God as well, and everyone has the right to do so. However, that gives cover to all these extremists.
Well, then it comes to this person believes their thing and believes that this person's wrong, and now we have contradicting, and I do mean contradicting religions, that they cannot both be right. That's a big problem that nobody seems to care about. They just want to.
Oh, they care about it.
They want to protect.
There's no.
That you have the. We just want the warm and fuzzy. You want to. I don't. Take comfort in someone believing false information.
Well, that's your first clue that it's all wrong. Is that like none of them can agree on any of it, it's just you should feel fortunate if you're religious that you were born at the right time in the right country in the right state in the right city in the right block that's going to the church that got it right out of all the other ones. I mean, when you put it that way, it's like, really, am I in the church that got it right out of all the other possibilities? No. It's okay. Here's another good example. Do you believe in? Well, you're I guess what are you agnostic or atheist or just non-religious?
Non-religious. That's how
okay. Yeah. Well, I'll ask someone that say is a Christian and they believe in Yahweh. Of course, most of them won't call him Yahweh, but they believe in the Christian God. And then I'll be like, well, do you believe in Zeus? No, don't be ridiculous. Nobody believes in Zeus. Okay, do you believe in Aphrodite? Do you believe in Hades? Do you believe in any of the other, like, Osiris, any of the extinct religions? And of course not, because there aren't any followers anymore. So that God has died because all their followers have died. And on top of that, that's what it's like to be an atheist. You don't believe in any of those gods. Well, neither do I. I just add one more. I don't believe in yours either. So,
what do you think? I don't know if this. I'm not trying to get you off subject.
No, that's fine.
What do you think is going to happen to religion in like 100 years?
Oh, it'll still be around.
How do you think it'll change? It's molded this whole time.
Well, it depends on how things play out, but religion is tenacious. It's I don't mean this literally, but it's similar to a virus. It's like a mind virus. It's thoughts themselves are memes or what Richard Dawkins put it. It was it's mimetic. It's an idea that's transmitted from brain to brain. And from there, once it finds a host, then that host will react differently. It's like how you get a cold or anything else.
There is a book that compares religion to a virus.
I know that's harsh, and that's not.
It is
not meant to be literal, but it's what you do with it. I mean, I'm sure you've seen multiple examples where somebody wasn't religious, and then they had a death in the family or whatever, and then so they get into a church, and then they become just gung ho about it. Fundamentalists
get older, they get more,
or whatever. You see somebody become religious, and some they use it just as an excuse for their generosity. But a lot of others become. One of the jokes is there's like the high school whore that got around, the tramp that got around and everybody. Well, in high school she was a complete whore, but then. Once she had kids and settled down and started feeling guilty about how she was in high school, then she found Jesus and went to church, and now she puts a Bible verse on Facebook every day, so everything's fine. That's kind of the joke.
I think the people that are in it with truly good intentions, I think they should be upset with how Christianity has really gotten away from.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sure a lot of them.
It's gotten away from Jesus. Right? Jesus is not the focus.
Well, and that's what, by the way, again, what gives them cover is that they'll just say, well, they're not a true Christian. That's that person that just did that. That priest that just followed that kid, he wasn't a true Catholic. That kid that just shot up that school. Well, his parent. They went to church every day. Well, he wasn't a real Christian. That's how you explain that.
I'll use socialism as an example. I know they hate that word. Oh, socialism. Throughout the last 5 years of hell with everything that's going on in the world, these people that are all like, food stamps is a good example. they just don't want. They think, oh, so and so's having so many kids, and she needs to get a job and all that. And it's like, I don't feel that way at all. I am not religious, but I think those children and anyone deserves. You are human. You deserve to eat. I don't care if you worked for it or not. That's not what I'm saying. You just deserve to eat. You are a human. I want to promote your life any way I can. And I've always felt that way. But now in my situation where I physically can't work anymore, I'm not allowed to. No doctor will sign off on me right now. I'm in the worst, most vulnerable stage of my life. And there's people that still think that I should go to work and because I don't deserve to eat because I didn't work. So I'm in a different position. But I'm saying, I can't imagine turning someone down for food because of they're in poverty. I just can't. Jesus did. He helped. He fed people. He helped the sick, helped the poor, and I just don't understand why capitalism has changed. Has made the church just turn into this so greed and power. And power.
Well, you just nailed it. You said
greed and power.
No, capitalism.
Capitalism did it. Yeah.
I'm not anti-capitalist. I mean, I like money. I like spending money. I like having things. I've gotten better at not being what's the word?
I wish I was a minimalist, but I'm not.
Well,
Unfortunately, I'm not.
I don't care as much about stuff now as I used to, but
yeah.
But the problem is it's capitalism. The board game Monopoly is a good example.
You used to kick my ass as a kid in that game.
That's because it's capitalism. What happens is through chance and luck and a little bit, well, not much skill. It's mainly luck. But you maneuver around the board and then you negotiate. The
more powerful you get, the easier you just.
And eventually, one person has everything and everyone else is destitute. That's.
And then we get a fight, and then we got grounded.
Right.
But anyways,
that's capitalism in a nutshell. But capitalism, since everyone has to function through society with money, it's going to permeate through everything, including religion, and that's how you get the prosperity gospel, your Joel Osteens of the world, and that's how you get. We're in what I think is what you would call late stage capitalism, end stage capitalism, where the vast majority of the money has gone to the top 1% of 1%, which is nothing new. It's been going on for decades, if not centuries, really. I mean, if you're talking about the railroad magnates and oil magnates and all that, and we're seeing the end result. And this was, it's nothing new. Like I said, it depends on.
It's just gotten really obvious, more so than...
Yes, now a lot more people are starting to wake up and at least they know something's not quite right. This week alone, our groceries were almost $300 for a family of four. Now we're big eaters, obviously, but still, what used to cost. I went to Taco Bell the other day. I got 3 Supreme tacos and a burrito, and it was 11 something.
Jeez,
and I'm
man.
I know it makes it sound old, but I remember when you get a combo meal or whatever, it's $5. But that's the idea. It's late stage capital. There's no value anymore. Everything's overpriced. It's inflation. Inflation's going up 6-7% a year.
It's hard to live. It's really hard to do that.
But the system's becoming rigged, and a lot of it already was rigged.
So I think that leads us into our last topic. Do you want to start the topic, or do you want me to start the last topic?
Well, I suppose I'll start. I assume you're talking about one of our favorites that I'm going to try to make a...
Your favorite, not my favorite.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is your favorite topic.
All right. Okay, well, my last one then for this episode of...
We'll do more episodes, by the way.
Okay, of Unpopular Opinions, because I want to be an equal opportunity upsetter. I love cryptocurrency, but I'm not a big fan of Ethereum. That's probably my last one.
That's a type of cryptocurrency.
Well, yeah,
just like Bitcoin's a type, Dogecoin is a type.
Okay, for a quick overview, the king of all cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. Well, the queen is probably Ethereum, and Ethereum has been hovering around, I don't know, $3,700 as of this.
This is
recording.
Not financial advice. By the way.
No. But my point is, it's been one of the most successful, if not the successful, cryptocurrencies because it's the most utilized right now. Its blockchain is popular.
Actually,
it's got lots of decentralized applications and a lot of things running on it. So it has purposes and it's generating actual revenue. So it has value. It's the second largest market cap behind Bitcoin. And Bitcoin right now, I believe, is around $1 trillion or so. It fluctuates between $1 trillion and half a trillion. So that's to give you an idea of how much money is poured into the whole thing. But my problem with Ethereum is, first of all, well, everyone's going to know right away. It's gas fees, number one. You pay ridiculous fees because only so many transactions can be done per second on a blockchain. And different blockchains perform better than others. But
So are you saying you don't like Ethereum's blockchain? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I am not smart enough or technical minded enough to understand the pros and cons of the actual blockchain itself. So let me at least start with that. All I know is the end result, which is me not liking paying a lot of money to get why am I going to buy? Okay, it works fine when with Bitcoin also, because Bitcoin costs a lot too. It works fine when you're making large movements, but when you're doing small purchases, like for instance, I wanted to make NFTs, and I want to make them on the Ethereum blockchain, and that costs so much money to mint each one.
You got to explain what an NFT is.
Okay, an NFT is called, or it stands for a non-fungible token. It's a unique. Ethereum, the currency on the Ethereum blockchain, is, excuse me, a fungible token. It's all the same. One ETH equals any other ETH, but an NFT, they're all different, or they can be anyway. So one is unique compared to any other NFT. Excuse me, that's the main difference. But in order to make an NFT, it costs different amounts based on where you make it. Like I'm on OpenSea and I'm on Rarible.com, and it costs usually more on Rarible than it does on OpenSea, but it just depends on how many you're making, how rare you're making it, and that kind of thing. But anyway, I can't make a living, certainly, and I don't know who can unless you were fortunate enough to make a lot of money and just by being such an awesome artist. Like Beeple, for instance, their artwork went for millions of dollars. I mean, they're setting the records for the most money for art, at least in the NFT world.
And Jake, well, and myself too, we're very artistic. Like you painted and drawn many things. You had one.
Right. I mean, I would like to make this a full-time job. I mean, I think it's the future. Art actually is one of the lesser use cases for NFTs. Actually, I mean, I think the main NFTs are here to stay, in my opinion. I think the main use cases for them are like contracts, things that you want to set in stone that you can either pass on or sell or whatever. For instance, a will and testament can be an NFT. A legal contract can be an NFT, like buying a house. You can make that could be instead of a deed, it'd be an NFT. Going to a concert, instead of getting an actual printed out ticket, you can get an NFT, so you have a digital memory of that concert. There's all sorts of.
You're leading into my last unpopular opinion.
All right. Well, then what's yours?
And my last unpopular opinion is NFTs are stupid. Except unless you can find some. Okay, from the art field, the art world, I think they're horrible. But you're right about deeds and contracts. That's actually kind of cool. But from an artistic standpoint, no.
Well, it's survival of the fittest. I mean, there's plenty of art that's great. I mean, art is all subjective. However, some stuff is considered better than others. I mean, most people aren't going to argue that like the Mona Lisa has artistic value. The Mona Lisa is not an NFT. However,
I know, but I want to own the Mona Lisa, not a token or whatever
That's right.
you call it.
Here's how you own the Mona Lisa. Whoever, I'll use an example. In a museum, if the museum wants to raise revenue in order to keep paying to stay open and all that, then they get a famous painting, and then they sell 10 digital copies of it. They have the original, but then you get basically, or think of it as like a stock where.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard of, Jake.
Why? Because that museum.
I want to own a Mona Lisa, not a piece of paper saying I own it, or not even a piece of paper.
Well, that's fine. If you're that uber rich, then you can actually bid on the Mona Lisa. But if you want the second best thing, which is to have more than one Mona Lisa and have access to it, then an NFT would be your route.
All right. I think what you and I are. Okay, I'm gonna turn this into a question.
Okay.
And it has to do with blockchain. I just don't feel like NFTs are being utilized properly yet. I think we
Oh,
have
no.
a lot of ways to go with
do.
that.
We do.
I do not think we are in any shape or form ready for that. Okay. With that said, I do think it has a purpose, and I'm ready and willing to hear excellent purposes in the future. I think I might have a purpose, though. I don't know if it'd be NFTs, but it'd definitely be for blockchain. And I'm asking this. I don't know. I'm asking you this. I've never, ever told you this, because I just came up with this the other day. Could we, or should we, could we use our, I'm trying to say it properly, voting. Voting was a nightmare in 2020. We all know that, okay? Could we vote on the blockchain?
Oh, most definitely, yes.
Because I would love it if voting was, on the internet and all that, and I understand that the internet can be, all this, there's a lot of scary things on the internet for voting, but that's part of the biggest problem is mail-in voting and getting, all the people to the voting polls. So it's hard. I got that part. But if we could do it on the internet, could we use the blockchain for voting?
Most definitely. And on top of to add to that, your ID that you would use, because that seems to be a big controversial thing right now too, is your ID, your identification that's certified by the state could be an NFT. So, you can still have a driver's license, but you could have a digital representation of that. And that's what you would use to cast an NFT as a vote. Like, it would be minted as you voted. there's a...
And that is really, like, secure in history.
It's again, a blockchain is just a digital ledger, so it's actually literally keeping track of your vote, and that NFT goes there permanently, and it's unalterable, and so that way you worry about hanging chads. There's a nice reference for you from 20-something years ago, or in this case...
What's that mean? I never heard that.
That was during the Bush and Gore election when it came down to Florida, and they were doing everything they can to get rid of votes, and so they were saying anything that had, because they were the old punch card type, and so anything that wasn't a certainty that was punched, they were saying, well, they had a hanging chat on them, so throw it out. It's not a good vote.
Oh, okay.
But that's the old school paper way. But even in, like, say, the 2020 election, they were trying to say that there was election fraud in certain states, and that you could tell it was like the Chinese put a bunch of fake ballots out there because there was traces of bamboo or some other garbage. But an NFT would eliminate that as well, because you would know that you would know all the minting data about it. You would know when it was cast in this case, or made, really? which was when you actually voted. You hit the button, and that's when it was cast, and it freezes all the information, so it was John Doe that actually voted and voted this way. It relieves all of those concerns. Of course, that's not really.
Is that the first time you ever thought of that, or is
no? That's not my idea.
I'm saying, like, I swear to
God. No,
God,
that's great. No, that was already, actually, I had already, that was one of the concepts that I had already, I listened to podcasts that...
I don't think it's necessary, my opinion, again.
Well...
I think our voting system's just fine, but, except for the stupid electoral college, that's bullshit, I'm sorry, but anyways.
Well, something like that might alleviate a lot of the excuses that a lot of people use for, like, well, we're, dead people are voting, or somebody voted twice, that kind of thing. Well, NFTs, you can't have the same person voting twice because they're both unique. Now, you can have a John Smith and a John A. Smith, and that's kind of what a lot of the problem they have now anyway, is that, how many times did John Smith vote? Well, there's like 72 trillion John Smiths in the world, so which one is this guy? That kind of thing. But even NFTs, I think, would help with that as well, because it would solidify all the information for that John Smith. Not only is that John Smith, that's John S. Smith from Fort Wayne, and this is his social security.
4:25 p.m. on, okay.
But I see the main value as, like, legal contracts. So it would work
I just see the storage. The storage. What it's going to take on... Look, man, just making this show, them stupid little SD cards to store all my data, it's insane. It's costly. So I'm just saying, like, I don't feel like it's necessary, but unfortunately...
NFTs don't take up much space at all. An NFT can be anything, so I guess technically even a video could be an NFT, which can take up a lot of space. But if you're talking like where we're at now with, like, JPEGs and stuff, and, like, I assume what you're talking about is like the Board Yacht Club kind of stuff that's all really dumb. It's just it's just a JPEG of a picture of a chimp, and there's 10,000 variations of that.
It's so stupid.
They are, but it is like a club, though, where only 10,000... Okay, I'm in I'm in Crypto.com's NFT. Well, it's a decentralized application built on the Kronos blockchain, and they have their own like chimp club. I actually own 2 chimps, and right now they're worth about
What?
Yeah, they're worth about $1,500. But well, that's just it. I mean, it's who's willing to pay.
You're even in. Are your Jake collect? Is it baseball or football cards?
Primarily football cards.
And they're digital.
Oh well, yes, I have digital NFTs of.
Okay, that I'm sorry, Jake. I love sports and I love collections, and you've always been a collector. You've collected some of the coolest stuff over the years, but your digital sports card collection bores me to tears because I just can't. I need to hold it. I want to hold it. I want to put it on my wall. I want to.
Okay,
I can't.
Fair point. There are artists right now that they make an actual painting, a physical painting. And then they create an NFT of that painting, a digital lithograph, so to speak. And then there's all sorts of things you can do. You can, as the artist, you can record yourself destroying that physical painting, and now the NFT is the only painting of that. Or you can actually do both. You can sell it as a combination.
I love art so much I can't.
Well, this is what would satisfy you. That person paints that painting and they make a digital copy.
Okay.
Well, now they mail the physical copy to you, so you have the copy you can put on your wall and appreciate.
Okay.
Now you have a digital copy. You can make your logo on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever you're on. I mean, I can
just take a picture of it.
You can, however,
Dude, it's not necessary.
But don't limit yourself. You can now sell that copy for money and keep the physical. So you could actually say you pay $1,000 for that painting and you get the digital copy free. Now you keep the painting, you sell the digital copy for $500. You just made $500, and the original artist got a 10% kickback on it. So now that artist is making recurring revenue on the same one painting they painted the rest of their life every time it sells. So
I'm not saying you're wrong.
It frees the artist up, and music can be done this way.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No,
I'm just saying I'm not there yet.
All right.
I am not there yet.
And that's a good unpopular opinion, by the way, because we're at the point right now where the vast majority of people are like, yeah, NFTs, don't understand them, don't get them, don't care. But they're even the same way about a lot of cryptocurrency, and I understand that because it's so new and volatile and confusing and everything else that most people are just like I don't get it, don't care. But that's the way the internet was back in the 90s, and that's how you got the internet boom. That's what I compare NFTs to. Is there were thousands, if not millions, of everybody had their own website back in the 90s because it was the thing to do.
That was the thing.
And everybody was making a ton of money. But the problem was all of those websites were worthless because they didn't offer anything. There was no product. There was no service. So eventually that bubble bursts, and all the websites that didn't offer anything just disappear, and they're worthless. So that's kind of like NFTs right now. A lot of JPEGs. The vast majority of this stuff is going to be worthless, and unfortunately, a lot of people have paid good money for a lot of that stuff. So it's really knowing and understanding what, in all likelihood, is going to either maintain its value or increase in value, and there lies the expertise or the gamble, so to speak. If that's the risk you're taking, is okay, what is worth my time? Why did I pay $300 to get an NFT or whatever it may be?
You just remind me of MySpace. I remember I was so excited to get my first MySpace account, and I'd go to it, and there was nothing happening. Like, it was just pointless.
Well, okay. Let me put.
And then Facebook took over.
Let me put another slight spin on it then. Okay. Most people have a social presence, whether it's on or whatever media, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. Well, they all have a digital life. Now, you have your real life where you get up every day, you go around all that, but you have your digital life, and you want to represent. You want to have the bling. Everybody likes having the diamond necklace or the nice clothes or everything. Well, you like it the same way online too. If I have an NFT that is certified, say there's only 1,000 of them, I'm in this limited club, and everybody else agrees that that's a badass NFT, then it's a status symbol. And so that's all they are, is they're all status symbols, and they all have value.
And I don't know, you didn't sell me on it yet.
Okay, here we go. You have your Peyton Manning autograph.
Let me show everybody.
It's off screen right now.
It's going on screen, baby.
Okay.
Hi, Peyton. How you doing, Peyton?
Well, the second best thing to that is a picture of that.
The house that Peyton built. So.
Yeah. You paid a certain amount of money to have a physical copy of this, and we know it's also authenticated that's his actual autograph. It's great. I love it.
Yep.
Okay, well now the next best thing to that is showing it off online. Well, how are you going to do
I am right here, see?
Right. Or you can do it passively and actually have it like on your front page or wherever it is,
It's in my videos, man. I don't need an NFT of Peyton.
You don't, but other people might want it. That's what I'm saying. It's each their own. I mean, art is in the eye of the beholder. It's whatever turns you on is what you're going to buy. I mean, you don't have to buy a board, a yacht, and someone else isn't going to want Peyton Manning. They're going to want Tom Brady or
who just retired like 2 days ago.
But you get the idea.
Here you go, Peyton. You go back to your home.
The other beauty of like
house to Peyton, baby.
art NFTs is, I mean, they're virtually unlimited. I mean, there's millions of them. That's another reason why they won't be worth as much.
I'm not saying that you're so far out in right field that you're making no sense. That is not. You are totally in the ball game. I just don't think we're there yet.
That's fine. I have over 2,000 NFTs, most of which are like they literally cost me a dime.
You'll give me some to share for the video, right?
Sure, I'll send some. Actually, like I said, I've made my own NFTs. I'll give her a couple examples of mine, and you're welcome to buy them. And it's Ethereum too, no less.